All right, you guys, I'm back, and today I'm talking to Dara, and we're going to tackle a little bit more of a serious issue today and talk about the quality of food. And before we get started, I want to ask Dara to tell you a little bit about her background as to why she became so involved in learning about nutrition.
Yes, well, about 5 years ago, I was very sick, and I didn't know why. Doctors couldn't figure it out. It was very mysterious. And I had been an athlete and super healthy my whole life, so this was really, really like awful for me. And it wasn't until I switched my eating habits from what I thought was healthy to what actually is healthy, actually doing the research and figuring it out. And that is when I started to feel better. So now it's my driving force.
Right, so when you start to feel different and you feel good and you start to understand the science behind it, obviously it becomes a passion of yours. And many of you have already been on Dara's grocery store tour, so you have learned that she is a wealth of knowledge, and we should do another one of those. I think we're gonna have to do another one for these guys. But it's just so incredibly valuable to get inside somebody's brain who has researched it and studied it, so that you don't necessarily have to go through that amount of detail. I mean, you've spent years and years and years studying this, and have really broken it down, I don't want to say to simplicity, but to the most important things.
Yes.
So let's start with basically the overall quality of our food and where we're at now as a whole.
Okay. The quality of your food is so important. You need to pay attention to what you're eating and what that thing was getting fed. So if you're eating a cow, if you're eating beef, you need to pay attention to what that cow is being given its whole life.
Right.
If you're eating plants, or you need to figure out what kind of pesticides and herbicides
Definitely.
were being used, because that's going into your body.
Absolutely. So it used to be you are what you eat, but now it's you are what you ate.
Yes.
So it's this whole chain effect that it's kind of scary. So, you know, we hear so much about organic, and you know, I think it's important, but a lot of people say, oh, is it worth the money? Is it?
Yes.
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 Got it? Yes, you guys, yes.
Organic is going to keep you safe from pesticides, from herbicides, from genetically modified organisms. They also practice sustainable farming methods. So the organic, the raise in prices is really worth it for the good of the earth and your body, because we are being burdened with toxins right now from our food system, and organic will keep you safe from that.
Well, and I think if you don't pay for it now with the little bit of increase to go organic, you're going to pay for it later in medical bills. And I don't know about you guys, but I would rather stay healthy and have that health insurance. And you know, and where we live, we were just talking about this before we started the video, is how blessed we are to live in an area where we have not only one farmer's market in our town now, but we're going to have two. I think there's one coming up starting now right here, right outside our front door at Bionic. There's the Manhattan one, there's the LC, they're everywhere.
And they're fabulous.
So, yeah, and they're locally grown foods that are grown organic. So it's a great cause, and you're also going to be eating healthy. So where do you start if you're not already eating organic? Where do you start? Everything?
That can be pricey. I built up. So what I did first was I looked up, I Googled the Environmental Working Group, the EWG. They have this great website. It's a nonprofit organization.
And it's just EWG?
EWG.org, I think.
Okay,
right?
EWG.org.
Do it.
Good reference.
They have great references for which foods are the dirtiest, most heavily sprayed. And so what I did was I started with the Dirty Dozen, the produce that was sprayed the most, and I tried to buy those organic. And I started there, and then...
Great start. So start with the Dirty Dozen, and you can Google that anywhere, Dirty Dozen. We'll write a blog about it as well. So that's a great place to start. And don't get overwhelmed. And if you can, go 100% organic. Or if you eat a lot of one certain food, go organic with that one. And you mentioned something there also within that sentence about the organic also protects you from GMO, which is a buzz topic right now, the genetically modified foods. What is that?
Something that should scare the bejesus out of you. Genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, are living organisms that are taken to a lab, and then their genetic material is artificially messed with. So it's not natural food anymore.
Right.
And what they're doing is they're creating these seeds, and so that they are immune to pesticides and herbicides, so that when the farmers spray, the plant survives and all the weeds get killed, all the insects get killed. This is not healthy for us. This means that our plants are getting doused in massive amounts of pesticides.
Well, and it seems like it makes sense to me that if everything around it is dying and what they're spraying it on is what we're eating, that's a little bit scary.
It scares me.
I mean, you could do your homework on this and really research it in detail, or you can just trust us in knowing that this is not something you want to put in your food or in your mouth. And also, there's a lot of information out there right now about the labeling of GMO and the fact that it needs to be labeled if it is genetically modified. Is there anything you can look for on foods to know that it's not genetically modified?
Yeah, we are making progress in that. Unfortunately, right now the FDA does not require food industry to label their foods as GMO. So you really, unless it says organic on it, organic means you're safe from GMOs, or if there's a little symbol on it that says the non-GMO project, those two labels, organic and non-GMO project, will help you to feel safer that there are no GMOs.
Good.
Otherwise,
yeah, and it's pretty scary what the food industry can get away with. But as you said, I know we're making progress on that, and I think that's going to be something that we'll see in the next few years really start being everywhere on food, and it's going to tighten up on some of these farmers that are spraying our food with crap. Don't eat it. Okay, so another thing that we really hear a lot about, and that I've recently just really gone die-hard with, is grass-fed.
Oh, good.
Let's talk a little bit about grass-fed. I have to tell you, I just found a fantastic steak at Trader Joe's, grass-fed, and it's so good, and I can tell such a difference. But it took me a little bit longer to take that leap, and I don't know why. I guess I was just honestly being lazy to go to the butcher and ask about it. But now that I've made that transition, I tell you, I can tell a difference.
Yeah.
So,
well, first of all, grass-fed beef, there are different levels. So I'm going to give you a little.
Oh, you're going to ruin my Trader Joe's steak?
No, your Trader Joe's steak is probably outstanding because I have seen those. But there's your conventional steak, which is grown in a feedlot, which is like a prison for a cow. And then there is grass-fed, grain-finished. And yeah, those are it's a lot more expensive than your conventional steak, but not the same nutrient density.
Exactly.
And then there's 100% grass-fed, and that's what you want to look for. Grass-fed, grass-finished. That is the healthiest type of beef that you can eat.
Wow. So if it's grass-fed and grain-finished, what does that mean?
Okay, so what happens is these farmers that are raising these happy cows that are grazing on the pastures, because they're not using drugs to fatten these cows up, and they're not using artificial food and grains to fatten them up, some of them don't meet weight at slaughter time. And what they do is, because they're really not cutting it, these farmers, to be honest. They're doing the right thing for us, but they're not making that much money. They sell the cow to a feedlot. And so the cow goes back to the feedlot, gets fattened up with soy, corn, and grains, and then is grain finished.
No! Yes. That's terrible.
Yes.
So, and I think the biggest difference is in the fats of the steak. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So, more CLA, more healthy fats.
More omega-3s, more CLA. And little tidbit for those of you trying to drop some weight, a 6-ounce grass-fed steak has 100 less calories than a 6-ounce grain-fed steak.
Super interesting. I did not know that. See, I'm learning along with you guys. And it makes such a difference. We talked about healthy fats actually with Shad. I talked about healthy fats, and there is such a huge difference in the quality. If your body knows what you're feeding it and it gets healthy ingredients, it's going to let go of what it doesn't need.
Yeah.
So if you're giving it healthy fats, then it's more prone to let go of the fats that it's storing.
Yeah.
So I think that's really a key point for people to focus in on. Is there anything else that you really feel everyone should absolutely know while they're picking out their food?
Yeah, you know what I really love to talk with my clients about is actually a little bit more about fat. There are very, very healthy fats out there that you should be eating, like grass-fed beef with the high CLA and the high omega-3s. And then there are really, really unhealthy fats. The scary part is when you cook with fat, when you start to heat it up. So what I tell my clients is you want to cook with naturally saturated fats. And saturated fats.
Great advice.
Yeah. Saturated fats got a bad name a long time ago, but they were the man-made saturated
Right,
fats.
exactly.
I don't want those.
Yeah, anything man-made, basically, we screw it all up when us humans get in there and try and modify it. Our body's like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
So you get the natural stuff, and as long as it's fed something proper that we haven't tampered with,
Yeah.
then you're going to be safe. But I think that's a really good point. So, you know, the animal fat even is an okay thing to cook with, yeah?
Well, yeah, so what I normally do is I get the best quality bacon I can get. I get pastured bacon, and I reserve the fat, so I cook with bacon fat. Grass-fed butter, because the cows are fed grass. Extra virgin coconut oil.
Yep.
Those, and red palm oil, not palm kernel.
Those are my 4 favorite. Yes.
Yes,
So,
those are the best.
yeah.
They don't change their chemical composure under heat. So
Well, and a lot of people cook with olive oil, and when you cook with olive oil and you see it turns brown, that's actually, it's losing all its phytonutrients and it's literally rancid. So you really have to be careful with stuff like that. And I know my clients are shocked when I tell them I eat butter. I eat a lot of butter, grass-fed butter. And Carrie's is a great brand. Do you have a brand that you like?
I do Kerrygold or
Kerrygold,
Organic Valley.
yeah. Okay, so you know, some great valuable information, and again, we could talk about this for literally hours and give you guys all kinds of crazy information, but instead I'm going to list some documentaries for you to watch, and we'll talk about which ones we think are the most important for you, and then also we'll give you just a few other pointers, but of course we're going to give you your one focus for the week, which is...
Please pay attention to the quality of the food that you're eating. Start with just getting some organic produce, the stuff that you eat the most of. Try just one grass-fed steak. Just one.
You never
or
go
some
back.
Grass-fed ground beef. And just pay attention to that little non-GMO symbol on the foods in your store, and I think you'll start to feel the difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, you have your focus for the week. Stick to it, be aware, and trust us when we tell you the extra money that you put into the quality of your food is going to pay off long term. All right, thanks. We'll see you again next week with another Trainer Focus.